Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2012 BMW X6, and this would be the same for BMW X5 of this year. Today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. As you can see, it's already installed into this car. It's paired to iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly. You can control it with the original controls of the car. You will not lose any functionality from the original system. If you have rear view camera, that will still work the same way. As you can see, everything is here, and we press and hold the back button, and now you have an extra feature which you didn't have before. And now we're going to show you how to install it in this particular car. So first we'll start with the panel removal tool, and we'll remove the vents. So you have to go underneath and they just come out. So in total there are 4 connections. So there's 3 right here, there's 1 back there, and all of them you can just carefully grab and pull on them and they will come out. There's no clips to press, and this is the last one. Now we will use our Phillips screwdriver and we'll remove these 2 bolts right here. They hold the center HVAC panel, and then there's also 2 bolts right there that hold the screen in. So first we'll remove the HVAC panel. So you have to kind of tilt it here. Then we're going to use our panel removal tool, and we're going to get into this area right here because there's a clip here and a clip over there. So you get underneath and then clip it on both sides. Once you unclip, then this whole thing can come apart. And at the back there's 3 connections, so you have to press onto this clip to unclip this one. This one has a clip on top, and then this one has clips on both sides, so you have to press. And then you're gonna have this flat cable wire that is usually wrapped around here, and once everything is removed you can put it away. Again, with our Phillips we're gonna remove 4 bolts, so there's 2 on each side. So over here next we need to remove this plastic piece around the gear selector. So we'll use our hook tool to get underneath here in the corner in order for us to stick our panel tool. Then we'll work our way down here. Once you remove it, there's a connection right here which you just have to pull on. Now we're going to use our T30, and we need to remove these 4 bolts. So there's one right here, 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 and over here. Now you can grab the entire assembly and put it out of the way, and that lets us feed the necessary wires here. And then there's also going to be an audio wire going, so we'll do that next. Here we will use our hook tool to get underneath, and this panel pops off, and we're doing that in order for us to feed the auxiliary wire here. We will connect it right there, and as you can see we already made this small hole. That's where we're gonna feed our wire through, so it's up to you where you're gonna make your hole, but we made ours right there, so it's not really noticeable. So now we're gonna use our T20, and we're gonna remove this plastic piece underneath the glove box. This is where we're gonna hide our module. So there are 3 T20 Torx that you have to remove, and right there is a 3rd one. Now you can drop this panel sideways, and then there's 1 more bolt right there. Now you can grab this carpeted panel. This is the carpeted panel which we removed. So there was 1 bolt right here, and then it's held on clips, and then there's 2 more clips. So once we unclip these 2, you just move it forward and then it comes off. Then we're going to be putting it back. We're going to first slide it onto these, and then we will clip it back in, and then of course put the bolt back. So now we'll show you what comes in the box with your kit and everything that we're going to install. So this is your main module, which gets hidden underneath there. You have your USB cable, which is also going to be down there by passenger's foot. You have your wireless antenna. You have your main harness. One end will be at the module, the other end will be right here in the center console. We have our video cable, which we're going to connect to the back of the screen. And then we have our auxiliary cable, which will run into the armrest. So we'll start first with the video cable, and we already removed the bolts that hold the screen in. You can just tilt it and remove it. And at the back of the screen there's this video cable connection, which you have to press the clip on, and then disconnect it. Our wire has these 3 ends. One is a single male. This goes to the actual module, and this is a female and a male. These go at the back of the screen. So this one, which is at 90 degrees, you have to connect to the back of the screen. The original connection you have to connect into our cable. We will run this wire in the middle here and feed it through. Take your time, don't rush when you're doing this. And at this point we can just grab the screen, tilt it and put it back, and you just end up with this wire. And we're gonna keep feeding it down more. We need to feed it all the way down to the passenger's feet. So to do that, as you remember, we removed some bolts from the head unit. So now you can pull the head unit forward, tilt it up and move it out. And then once you have space, we'll just carefully rest it there. We're gonna continue on feeding our video cable. We'll drop it back there. And then as you can see, I caught it all the way by the passenger's feet. We're gonna grab these connections and carefully put the head unit back. It has to go on its rails and then it will slide in. And then it has to line up on these pins. And you can tell by where the bolt holes are that it's back in its original position, so you've done everything correctly. Next, we're gonna feed this auxiliary wire. So we'll go underneath here and we'll catch it on the inside. Then our goal is to bring it through our hole, and we will right away connect it to our auxiliary. And at this point you can put this panel back. So first you align the bottom and then you can clip it in. So this is our harness wire, and you're gonna see these cars have many configurations, but first you should start and make sure that over here it's connected to CAN bus number 1. This is what generally works for these cars. So you start with that, and we will feed this wire through. And over here you will see that on this end there's 2 small cables and 2 big ones, 2 thicker ones. So this is our control for the whole system. And here you see the original one only has 1 on this particular car. So that's the only one you need to connect. This would be this one. If your car has more, then usually you might have this big one, so you would also connect this one. But this car doesn't have it, so we'll just use the smaller wire. So this is the original one. We will connect it into our female. The rest you can leave. We will take our panel here, and once it's in place, you should just have these 2 wires coming out, because this one you will connect at the back of the controller here. At this point we're gonna put these 4 bolts back. Now we can take the iDrive controller and we're gonna plug our connection into it. You gotta make sure that you plug it all the way in, so it makes a good connection, because sometimes it can look like it's fully in, but so you have to go all the way in like that. As you can see, now it's for sure secure connection. We're not gonna clip it in just yet because we need to test everything, so we'll leave it like this for now. So this is our module. So we're gonna start doing all the connections into the modules. As a beginning, you will first start with just switch number 4 on, because as I said, this car has many different configurations. So with the switch number 4 on, we can connect the power harness. Then we will connect our video cable. Then there's the auxiliary. So auxiliary, you gotta make sure that you plug it into the auxiliary marked female, because there's also another one, but that's for microphone, which is irrelevant for this car. And now there's 2 more things left: the wireless antenna and the USB cable. So USB cable end looks like this, and on the other end there's just USB. and this is our antenna. So you can just plug it in here. And now our goal is to hide it behind. Over there, there's an opening, but before we do that, we're just gonna test everything to make sure everything works. So for testing, we will use USB cable with our iPhone. So the module supports wireless and wired connection, but for testing, it's just quicker to connect it by the wire. We will insert our key, and so the screen has to light up. That's already a good sign. And in order to hear stuff from Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you have to set the original system to auxiliary. So we'll do that as soon as it loads. So we'll go to CD. As you can see, the joystick is working, so everything is connected correctly. So you gotta choose auxiliary front. Now we will press and hold the back button here, and you should have Apple CarPlay appear on your screen. So you will just test sound. So the sound is working, and the scroll wheel is working, the controller is working, so everything is correct. At this point, you can shut everything off. So now we can start putting stuff back. This one just clips in. As you remember, we already put the bolts back, so this one just clips in. Here we can put the 4 bolts back first. Now we can put back the HVAC panel. So first you have to connect the connections into it. This one first you put it in, and then you slide it to close it in place and lock it in place. Here, this flat cable wire, you gotta wrap around the head unit, and we're gonna carefully put everything back. Also for the vents, you gotta make sure that all 4 cables are here so they don't get closed somewhere behind. So first you have to clip the bottom part. So the bottom is clipped in here. And now we can put the 2 bolts back. Next would be the bolts that hold the screen in. So we can now take our vents and connect everything back. So you just have to kind of color match. Black goes into black. And then the long one, make sure to connect it. That one is to open up your glove box here. So here we're gonna feed the wires, so then they get covered by the carpet. Our module has to go right there. As you can see, it kind of slides in there. And then the USB cable should be out because it has to come out. So once you have the wires kind of positioned, we will now put the carpeted piece back. So first you have to put it in right there, then we will clip it in. And at that point we can put the bolt back right there. So now we're ready to put everything nicely and hide everything. We will take this panel, so this end has to go and clip in right there. So once this panel is back, you can put the 3 torque bolts back and secure everything in place. And the last one right there. So as you can see, everything has been assembled. The module is hidden. The only visible thing is the USB cable. And we also paired our iPhone wirelessly. You can pair it wirelessly through the settings of our module. You can also pair your Android phone wirelessly. And at this point, you can enjoy your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in your BMW X6 or X5. Again, this was a video for GTA Car Kits. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you next time.